He's a member of the Asia Pacific Leadership for Nuclear Non-Proliferation and Disarmament. Why so? Because he's been an expert in disarmament for many, many years. In fact, he was Indian ambassador to disarmament in Geneva as part of his career. But besides that, he's also been India's ambassador to Afghanistan and Nepal, and also the India's ambassador to France. Why the Foreign Service sends you in these different places, God alone knows, but they do. But they make experts out of these guys, and the expertise of Rakesh is showing itself off in the fabulous writings that he does. I hope that some of you have been reading his pieces, which come in Hindu and various other places, and of course on the ORF website. And he's an expert on many things, including on Afghanistan. So today we have Rakesh, and he's going to speak with Amber Sen. Amber Sen, incidentally, was in the Home Ministry as a Special Secretary at the time that Rakesh was ambassador in Afghanistan. So they have a whole different story to tell.
Anyway.
So I'm going to lead off with that. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody here. And Mandy, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Pitu. And I'll just take a few minutes, just giving a quick backdrop on Amber, who's been our fellow Stephanian doing his MA in English from 64 to 69. And as he said, he had little choice when he decided to join the police service because most of his family were bureaucrats anyway, and held rather distinguished posts. And in those days, that was the natural thing to do. So he opted for becoming a cop, but he then also put on a little bit of a cloak and dagger around him and joined the research and analysis wing. And that's where he had some interesting, through his career, some postings to Ottawa, to Cairo, to Mauritius. And of course, he spent a good sort of 15 years. And I guess there's no better person than him to, chat with Rakesh and tell us a little more about, his own experiences vis-a-vis Afghanistan and, what is obviously a fascinating place. And it's just a small bit of trivia here that I discovered. My wife's grandfather, Bhagwat Dayal, was, I think, one of the earlier ambassadors there. And he often talked about a very different life. So it would be nice to get a sense from both Rakesh and Amber on, how these changes have happened and so on. So over to you both. Thank you. And Amber, we were having one off on you saying that, you were struggling still at the amber light, and now it's all green light for you. So please go ahead.
Yeah, forgive me for that. But
no worries.
Can you hear me now?
Absolutely. Yeah. Crystal clear.
So only to correct Pitu once, that I was not in the Home Ministry. I was always in the Cabinet Secretariat, which you know what it means. Which you know what means. But anyway, now let's go ahead. That's it.
Yeah. So over to you, Amber, for Rakesh on a Q&A mode.
I start?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So Rakesh, I start with a question, or you want me to?
Either way, sir.
1 minute.
जिस तरह से विकेट की तलाश में था, एंडरसन ने अपने हाथ भी खोले, लेकिन आप कहेंगे?
Should I start with the question, or should you?
Up to you. I think, why don't you say something? Why don't you sort of lead off with a little whatever backdrop or something like that, and then we can follow it up with the question.
I think all of you who are listening in know that Afghanistan is very much in the news these days. It's a very worrying situation. I think the Taliban has captured, I think, 9 capitals of the provinces in Afghanistan. And the general expectation is that within a year or maybe less, they will take over Taliban. But both Rakesh and I have a slightly different view, and we are a little more optimistic. So I think I can turn it over to Rakesh now, and then we'll go along as we start discussing this.
Okay.
Rakesh?
Thank you, sir. If we just to provide a kind of a backdrop to our friends listening in, who in the political transition in Afghanistan didn't begin. If you see, there have been various chapters in the political transition, but essentially, it's been a political transition that's been going on for nearly 50 years. It kind of began because before that, Afghanistan had been a fairly stable monarchy till 1973. 1973,